Sean Myrie. Please like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Yup, it's D2E, Down to Earth, Saturday Night Live and direct, with some recent news. But we know this would all happen, and we're talking about the one Donald Trump, right? Recently, the Supreme Court, basically tossed out his tariff shit, and now he's angry. So look, he's putting down 10% Trump right now. President Donald Trump said Friday he will sign an executive order imposing a new 10% global tariff hours after the Supreme Court struck down his sweeping reciprocal import duties in major rebuke of his trade agenda. So they stopped that shit. Let's see what happened here, because they stopped his whole thing. Even a week before this, Washington basically voted against his tariffs against Canada. He lost then. He wasn't talking. Now he's talking because it's on the world stage now even more. Trump announced new 10% global tariffs after raging over Supreme Court loss. So, yeah, he was raging. And you know what? You could see that he was lost. I mean, like, he got hit. You could see that he wasn't too he wasn't too happy. You could see that he was very angry because it didn't go his way, right? But he says he was ready for it. He says he was ready for it. Let's see. President Donald Trump said he signed an executive order imposing a new 10% global tariff under Section 122 of the Trade Act 1974. Trump was defiant following a major Supreme Court defeat, saying he will fight other ways to impose global tariffs that were struck down. Of course he will. He's going to fight all types of ways. Trump's remarks, right, between defiant and scathing, that's how they put it. He even went after Justice Neil Gorsuch and Amy Coney Barrett, whom he nominated after they voted with the majority 6-3 tariff ruling. So he's taking this personally, Donald Trump. Of course, this was his main platform too. The tariffs, global tariffs to everybody. This is what his main platform, and now he lost. He lost to Canada, right? Because he was like threatening Canada with all these whatever tariffs. They blocked that. And now the Supreme Court, the same thing. So let's see what he's saying now. He said, this is what President Donald Trump is saying. President Donald Trump on Friday evening said he signed an executive order imposing a new 10% global tariff hours after the Supreme Court struck down his sweeping reciprocal import duties in major rebuke of his trade agenda. Right? The Section 122 tariffs will take effect almost immediately, Trump said in a Truth Social post on his platform, of course. They come on top of the levies that remain intact following the High Court's decision, which is invalidated. Is that what he's saying? Invalidated the tariffs Trump had imposed using the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, or the IEEPA, at the White House press briefing Friday afternoon. That's not too long ago. Trump rallied against the deeply disappointing 6-3 ruling. Once again, he lost, right? I'm ashamed of certain members of the court. This is what he's saying. Absolutely ashamed, not having the courage to do what's right for the country, Trump said. The ruling threw out the legal underpinning for many of his tariffs that Trump insists are essential for the U.S. economy and for rebuilding America's shrinking manufacturing base. It's hurting right now down there. Trump's reciprocal tariffs and his drug trafficking related duties both hinge on the administration's expansive interpretations of IEEPA, but the court's majority ruled Friday that the IEEPA does not authorize the president to impose tariffs. So Trump, man, he's going everywhere. He's raging mad right now, man. And he wants to put back these he wants to show that he could put more tariffs on. The new 10% global, because it's affecting the world everywhere, which comes with 150-day time limit, will effectively replace the IEEPA duty, a White House official told the CNBC later Friday. So he's putting out more tariffs, and it's hurting America. It's hurting America, these tariffs, right? So meanwhile, this guy is still fighting and bringing out all these files too. But he's fighting the whole world. This is what it is. He wants to put 10%, this percent, a whole bunch of different percents on all countries. It's crazy. It's crazy. What else? What's next with Mr. Trump? People, please subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. Yeah, new tariffs. I think he has another thing. Okay, the new 10% global tariff, which comes with 150-day time limit, will effectively replace the IEEPA duties, White House officials told CNBC later Friday. It could mean lower U.S. tariff rates for some of the countries that had either struck the trade deal with Trump's administration or were on ongoing trade talks. That's because many of those countries and regions had faced U.S. tariffs higher than 10% as part of the agreement. The European Union, for example, agreed to 15% tariffs as part of its trade deal with the U.S. So the U.S., what Trump is doing, to me, is looking like he's taxing all these countries with the tariffs. That's what he's doing. He's taxing all these countries with the tariffs, hoping that it's going to make America great again with what he's doing, right? So 15% tariffs as part of the trade deal with the US. Those tariffs were largely implemented under IEEPA, meaning they were invalidated as a result of the Supreme Court's ruling. Okay. So the Supreme Court done something to screw up Trump's tariffs that he was trying to put in place. The shakeup could be significant for China, which faced two sets of 10% IEEPA based U.S. tariffs, in addition to the 25% duty that remains in effect. Those IEEPA tariffs will be replaced by Trump's new global tariff, bringing China a total rate of 35%, the White House officials told CNBC. So Trump is firing back and he's not giving up. He's talking about the tariffs once again. This is interesting. Trump is adamant that he will find other ways to impose tariffs without Congress. Without Congress, he's going to find other ways. And that the White House officially noted that the administration works through additional legal tariff pathways. The rate imposed on individual countries may snap back to their higher levels. When asked on Friday at a press briefing why did he not want to work with the legislative branch, Trump said, "I don't have to. I have the right to do tariffs." Trump remarks between defiant and this man is crazy, yo. This man is crazy, yo. Hold on a minute. Check it out. See what's going on. What's going on? Trump also declared that all tariffs active under the statute known as Section 232 and Section 301 will remain in full force and effect. Full force and effect. Supreme Court strikes down Trump's tariffs in rebuke the signature policy. Trump announces 10% global tariffs after a raging over Supreme Court loss. Right? Trump's tariffs, U.S. could owe 175 billion in refunds. That's a lot. You hear that? Trump's tariffs, U.S. could owe 175 billion in refunds. Right? What the Supreme Court tariffs ruling may mean for your money. They have that. Small furniture retailers face tariff threat. There's a lot of tariffs going out there right now. A lot of tariffs. This man's putting out 10%, all different types of percents, and he doesn't care, yo. Man doesn't care. See, so Trump raises global tariffs 15% shorter after implementing 11. This is 11 hours ago. 15. Trump raises global tariff to 15% shortly after implementing reworked 10% levy. So he keeps moving, updating. This is updating. So the judge, so he lost in the Supreme Court, right? He lost all of that stuff, but he's coming back with some acts. Trump is implementing the new so-called global tariff under Section 122 of the 1974 Trade Act, which is different than the law under which the prior tariffs were ruled illegal. This guy's trying to find all types of ways to do something. Donald Trump. In 1974, the law allows that the president to institute a temporary import surcharge up to 15% if he finds there are large and serious the United States balance of payments and deficits, or to prevent an imminent and significant depreciation of the US dollar in foreign exchange markets. So under this law, the tariffs can last for up to 150 days, after which Congress may have to take an action to extend them. The law is also not clear on whether the administration could restart the tariffs immediately after the 150 days with another executive order. So he's just going to keep doing that. He's just going to keep repeating and repeating so he could get these tariffs in. He's never going to stop with the tariffs. He's never going to stop with the tariffs. So at this time, Trump implements the sweeping tariffs. U.S. Trade Representatives Jameson Greer said that the administration would open the Section 103 investigation on most major trading partners on a accelerated time frame, right? The investigations would allow the administration to impose tariffs under other sections of the 1974 law if it finds that the rights of the U.S. are being denied under any trade agreement, or whether any trade agreement is unjustifiable and burden or restricted the United States commerce. This guy's trying all types of things. He's trying all types of things, people. So he lost his main campaign to do all of this tariff shit. The tariff stuff is to like take money and make money in his eyes. You get what I'm saying? Take money and make money to make America great again. This is how he's making America great again. Now he's going to put America in debt. He's going to be owing a lot to everybody. I swear I seen something earlier where it says, well, a good amount of billion, like over 100 billion, America already owes to a lot of people, right? America already owes a lot of money to people right now. All those tariffs only hurt America. They don't really hurt anybody else, especially when he tried it on Canada, right? He tried it on Canada. Mostly is hurting American companies. Um, so the more he does these tariffs, man, I would be scared if you're American, your jobs, you might see, a lot of people get laid off, a lot of places shut down because, like it or not, other countries do invest in America, so they'll start pulling out their companies. It's already happening, right? Disney's pulling out of America. Disney's going to Canada and the UK. Disney's pulling out of America because of all these tariff stuff. A lot of companies are hurting, even Nike. I seen something on Nike in regards to these tariff stuff because the Nikes are not made in America. So even the electronics is not made, a lot of it's not made in America, right? I heard Best Buy, they get a lot of their stuff from China. So if you're getting a lot of your stuff from China, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt when you put the tariffs on a country even more. So he's putting a lot of tariffs on China, for example, but he doesn't want no one to deal with China. When Canada's talking to China, he's talking a lot of shit. Donald Trump. It's because now what he's doing, he's making relationships bad for America. Even though he's the president, he's making the relationships bad by putting down all these tariffs. 10% more. I'm seeing maybe even 15%. So he's saying he was ready for them to do this. That's what he's saying. He was prepared for all of these tariffs to come down. First was the Canada one. I want to make people know the pattern, because I know you've been hearing about he lost the tariffs, the economic war, because this is what it started as an economic war, right? But I'm gonna give you the one about Canada. What happened? This is about almost going 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago. No, 2 weeks ago. Let's see. I think it was in Washington. It was a vote too, and the Republicans lost just because other Republicans kind of took sides with the Democrats, right? And when they took sides with the Democrats for like the Canada tariff, because the Canada tariff is what Mr. Trump was concentrating on, right? Because he was like kind of beefing with Carney, if you want to say, and 51st state. Remember all the 51st state talk, right? So he was targeting Canada as an example, bullying. And you could call it bullying if you want to call it, right? Trying to bully Canada. And even when they went to the economic forum, he was still like trying to bully Canada and bully Greenland. And he was just, putting himself out there like a bully. He was like, he's the shit, right? So now you got this man power hungry, and he doesn't like to lose, man. This man doesn't like to lose one bit. He don't like to lose. And he lost. He lost the tariffs, the economic war, right? He lost that. He lost that battle, right? He lost that battle. But he still wants to fight. I have to give him it. He still wants to fight. This man is not giving up, bringing on more tariffs. 10%, 15%. But who is it hurting? It's hurting. It's hurting America. That's what's going. It's hurting America. Some people don't want to admit it. Maybe they're not feeling it yet. It might be a couple months, right? Because is the tariffs helping America right now? Is it making more jobs? Is it what is it doing? What's Trump doing that you're seeing? What's better? What is he doing? Are you seeing anything different? Let me know. I got an invite link in the chat too, so you could come up if you want, and you could even speak your mind. I got the special invite link up in the chat. Yeah, right now Trump is defeat. Well, he looked defeated in that conference, right? He looked kind of defeated. He looked very upset. So now he's even putting out threats. He always puts out threats, right? He always puts out some type of threat. Man, when you watch the conference or whatever the announcement, he was talking about the Supreme Court throwing out his damn tariffs. He was very angry, calling out everybody by their name. Like, you get what I mean? Like, anybody who was a part of it not going his way, he was naming. He was naming them all, right? So what's this gonna do? Him charging whatever, if you want to say, putting out more tariffs, 10%. I'm hearing he brought it up 15%. So doing all of this, how's this helping America? I want to know. How's it helping America? There's no free healthcare there. I know that. You don't got no free healthcare. You got to pay for that with your insurance. And if you don't have a good insurance, damn, I don't know how you're doing it, especially if you're sick. You get what I'm saying? So, people, share the live. Trump just lost recently his economic war, right? He just lost it, but he's trying to fire right back. He's trying to fire right back. He just lost his economic war. So, yeah, so this is what he's saying. Let's get the full details now. We're going to get the full details. What he's saying. Donald Trump raises new global tariffs to 15%. So it went from 10 not too long ago to 15% following Supreme Court ruling, right? So the new tariffs have been brought in under a different law, but it leaves lots of questions for British business as what happens next. Okay. Yeah, we know. Okay, let's see this. So it says Donald Trump showed no sign of backing down from the Supreme Court ruling against his sweeping tariffs, announcing that 10% global tariffs would impose a defiance of the decision will now be raised to 15. You hear what he said? How he changes up his deal. This is what he said. Donald Trump showed no sign of backing down, from the Supreme Court ruling against his sweeping tariffs. So he didn't like that shit. Announcing right after that 10% global tariffs he would impose in defiance because of that, of a decision will now be raised even more to 15%. So because he didn't like how they, done that, he said 15%. In a post on his Truth Social, of course. Saturday, he wrote, so this was recently, still Saturday, as President of the United States of America, will be effective immediately raising the 10% worldwide tariffs on countries, many of which have been ripping the US off for decades without retribution until I came along to fully allow and legally tested 15% level. This guy is something that it's kind of funny how he says it. No, I gotta read this again. On his Truth Social platform Saturday, he wrote, I, as President of the United States of America, will be effective immediately raising the 10% worldwide tariff on countries, many of which have been ripping the U.S. off for decades without retribution until I came along to fully allow and legally test the 15% level. So this guy wants to be like, this man just wants to be the first to do all types of shit. Doesn't care. During the next short numbers of months, Trump's administration will determine and issue the new legally permissible tariffs, which will continue or extraordinarily successfully process the making America great again, greater than ever before. Thank you for your attention to this matter. President Donald Trump. Wait, is this the shit he's talking? Listen to this. During the next short number of months, okay, this is what he's saying. Trump's administration will determine and issue the new and legally permissible tariffs, which will continue or extraordinarily successful process of making America great again, greater than ever before. Thank you for your attention. This matters. President Donald Trump. Then you see this, right? The move the move created confusion amongst countries that had struck their own trade deals with the US, prompting Liberal Democrat leader Sir Ed Davey to urge Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer to sue Trump for $100 billion. What's going on here? This is like a friggin' this is like a show, yo. After the Supreme Court struck down its far-reaching global tariffs on Friday, a furious Trump declared he would impose 10% global tariffs using other legislations available to him, creating confusion amongst countries that had struck trade deals with the U.S. This man never stops. This man never stops. This is a game. This is a game for him. This is fun for him, right? He doesn't want to be bored. So he's just doing all types of shit. This is fun for him. What is the UK? Let's see. I think it's a mistake. Trump signed an executive order on Friday night that enables him to bypass Congress to impose 10% tax on imports from around the world. So that's one main thing what he put through back. Hit them again. Trump signed an executive order. So I guess the executive order is a powerful thing. It has to go through Friday night that enables him to bypass Congress and impose 10% tax on imports around the world. The new tariffs are expected to come into force Tuesday, although what? The law will con under restrictions them to just 150 days. So he's gonna keep renewing that shit. He's gonna keep renewing it as long as he's president. He's gonna fight it this way, even if the Supreme Court done whatever they done. He could do this executive order and put the taxes on other countries around the world, right? He could still put the taxes on these countries for 150 days. So he'll keep repeating it if he could do it all the time. Trump will no longer be able to honor many of the deals he has negotiated. Oh, I see. So the Supreme Court is screwing up his business. Now he's mad. Now Trump is mad. Screwing up his business. People, please subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. So now he's mad. Let's see. Mr. Trump. Supposed to do all these speeches. He got a lot to say in a couple days. Trump says he's raising the new global tariff to 15%. He's raising the tariffs, people, and it's gonna affect a lot of people. Bless up, Skits Beats and see you, yo. Is it safe to say his brain is scrambled? Yes, you're right. His brain is scrambled. OG Kicks, I didn't see you in there. But yes, yeah. Is it safe to say his brain is scrambled? Yeah, it's everywhere right now. It's everywhere. I could actually say that it's everywhere. Tariffs ruled illegal. So his tariffs were ruled illegal, right? Tariffs were ruled illegal. The U.S. Supreme Court struck down the President Donald Trump's global tariffs, ruling they were imposed illegally. Andrew Chang explains how the majority decision argues Trump violated federal law when he imposed sweeping tariffs in April 2025 and breaks down what Trump's administration says is what is going to do next. So what is he going to do next? He's going to still put more tariffs. Trump's latest declaration is unlikely to meaningfully affect Canada. You hear that? It's not going to affect Canada. Let me read that again. Trump's latest declaration is unlikely to meaningfully affect Canada. The fact sheet from the White House distributed on Friday night says goods that are a complement with Canada, United States Mexico agreement CUSMA, the CUSMA capitals, are exempt from the president's latest duty. So, no tariffs on Canada, no tariffs on Mexico, but he's dealing with the rest of the world. See that? Especially Canada. That's to show you all that tough talk. And there's no tariffs on Canada anymore. But still, other sector tariffs are still in effect. Trump has used Section 232 of the U.S. Trade Expansion Act to impose levies on Canada's steel, aluminum, copper, and some automotive parts, lumber, and other wood products. But isn't that going to hurt America? Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't that going to hurt America? I would think it would. So he said, still, other sectorial tariffs are still in effect. Trump has used Section 232 of the U.S. trade expansion to impose levies on Canadian steel, aluminum, and copper. So, what is that doing, really? Really? That's what's going to hurt Canada? I don't think so. So, Section 232 of the Act allows the U.S. officials to direct the Secretary of Commerce to look into the suspected national security threats caused by imports within 270 days, roughly 9 months. The secretary must present the president with a report and any recommendations for action. The use of Section 232 tariffs was not addressed in Friday's court decision. The Supreme Court ruled on the IEEPA tariffs. So that's different. The Supreme Court ruled on the IEEP tariffs. So he's putting on a different tariff. Trump increases new global tariff. The U.S. President Donald Trump said in social media he's raising the global tariffs from 10 to 15%, though these temporary tariffs can only be imposed on 150 days unless Congress approves an extension. The move follows an executive order signed by Friday. So, yeah, that's his revenge shit now. That's what he's doing. He's coming back with the revenge because he made it, they made him look like a fool and he was hurt the other day. So for sure, right? He has to come back with something. He's putting out an executive order. He's putting out an executive order, special order, so he could get his ways for 150 days, right? 150 days, and then he'll repeat it if he can. Right now, He didn't like what he heard, how they just struck it down. Of course that was gonna happen, right? He did what? He did pitch, I can destroy the country, but I can charge $1. You're right. Bless up Jonathan Thompson. But yeah, what's going on right now? He's angry. He's angry right now. So he put up a new global tariff. He's angry right now, man. A new global tariff. But it's not really it's not hurting Canada. All right? It's not really hurting Mexico. Like he lost 2 times, right? I gotta look up the thing what he lost earlier in the week before all of this. Because he was threatening Canada with the 51st state. He was going back and forth with the Canadian Prime Minister, and he lost he lost this whole tariff economic war. So this is what happened first, and no one's really talking about it. So Trump's tariffs, right, was dropped. Yeah, earlier, probably like a week ago. Where does the U.S. Supreme Court voiding some of Trump's tariffs leave Canada? Okay. Now, earlier this week, what does U.S. Supreme Court? Trump doubles down after U.S. Supreme Court strikes down global. He lost in a lot of things. All I know, I'm gonna bring up the thing with Canada. Okay, this is what it was, and this is earlier. This is at least February 12th. This is February 12th. I'm gonna read this. February 12th, before recent times. This is what happened, and he's not talking about it. House votes to cancel Trump's tariffs on Canada in rare bipartisan rebuke of White House agenda. So this is what happened. The tariff challenge is unlikely to become law, but it represents a major challenge to Donald Trump's economic agenda. Okay, this is what happened. And this is about a week ago. 6 Republicans joined most Democrats in the House of Representatives on Wednesday and voted to end President Trump's emergency tariffs on Canada, a rare bipartisan congressional challenge to the president's agenda, right? For months, the Republicans blocked a vote on Trump's illegal tariffs, choosing a procedural games over their responsibilities to the people they represent. Gregory Meeks, Democrat of New York, who sponsored the resolution, wrote in a statement today, Democrats, joined by several Republicans, were able to force that vote and put Republicans on record. The question was simple. Stand with working families and lower costs, or keep prices high out of loyalty to Donald Trump. The resolution, which would terminate Trump's 2025 emergency declaration justifying the tariffs, is unlikely to become law, given that would need two-thirds support in both House and override a likely Trump veto. So it would still override his veto. I thought he could do this veto for and get it back for Canada, but that never happened. The House had previously blocked voting on challenges to Trump's tariffs, but the House Speaker Mike Johnson failed to extend the block in a procedural vote on Tuesday. Clearly, the way for today's result. We cannot and should not outsource our responsibilities, Rep. Don Bacon, one of the Republicans who ultimately voted against the tariffs, wrote in the post on Facebook earlier Wednesday. As an old-fashioned conservative, I know tariffs are a tax on American consumers. I know some disagree, but this debate and vote would occur in the House. So saying that it's a tax on the American consumers. This whole thing is a tax on the American consumers. So what does this mean? It's hurting Americans, right? So Representative Thomas Massey of Kentucky and Kevin Kiley of California and Jeff Hurd of Colorado and Dan Newhouse of Washington and Brian Fitzpatrick of Pennsylvania were the Republicans who joined Bacon in the voting against the Canadian tariffs, which sit at 35%. Any Republican in the House or the Senate that votes against tariffs, this is Trump's shit, his response that time. Any Republicans in the House or the Senate that votes against tariffs will seriously suffer the consequences come election time, and that includes primaries. Trump wrote on Truth Social again. He always writes on his Truth Social. Allies of the president have defended the tariffs. The tariffs have been a tool that the president uses very effectively to level the playing field and put Americans back on top. Really? Is that really going on? I'm hearing people are paying more for this shit, right? Americans back on top. And I think it's wrong for Congress to step in the middle of that, Speaker Johnson told the business on Wednesday. So you see what happened. This is February 12th. February 12th, they blocked that whole shit, what Trump was trying to put through against Canada. Against Canada. See? Six Republicans took the side with Democrats against Trump's tariffs he was trying to put on Canada. So he lost that. And now he lost this recent one again. He knows. People, please subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. So, what does this mean? If you're American, more more tax or whatever. Something's going down. He's playing with the money right now. Could actually say that he's playing with the money. He's playing with the money, definitely, in America. This is a monopoly. He's the monopoly man. See the man with the top hat? That's Donald Trump. He's the monopoly man. That's Donald Trump. It says, I gotta get this. I want to see if this is any new news. Where does the U.S. Supreme Court voiding some Trump tariffs leave Canada? Where does it leave Canada? The U.S. Supreme Court struck down a number of tariffs that President Donald Trump has imposed since he returned to the White House. While Friday's decision removed some tariffs on Canada, others still remain in place. Trump has also promised to slap a 15% global tariff to replace the ones that the court invalidated. So, what does it mean for Canada? I wonder. What does it mean for Canada? I know all about the tariffs. What does it mean? The U.S. Supreme Court. Okay, we already know this. What does it mean for Canada? They're not telling you. And it's not really affecting anybody with the groceries here. You get what I'm saying? They're not telling you that. But it's affecting jobs, right? Manufacturing jobs. Because that's why he's mad with Canada, because Canada is getting the electric cars from China, right? So that's going to hurt a lot of American, companies that produce vehicles and work with Canada, because there is American companies in Canada. Remember that. There's American companies in Canada. So even when Trump's trying to do his tariffs, like, it's not the same like he's trying to do to other countries, because, like I'm saying, a lot of products are made in Canada from America. You know what I'm saying? They are making vehicles here, American style vehicles, and it's sold everywhere. That's what's really going on. So it's gonna affect a lot of jobs, right? A lot of jobs. Still going through with the tariffs, and he's bringing it up to 15%. 15%. Where does it leave Canada? I'm trying to get that. They can't tell me. Let me see. Where does this leave Canada? Uh, let's see. Okay. It's not going to really affect Canada, really, but it's going to really hurt America. That's what I see when I'm reading, doing my research. It's going to really hurt people with probably, groceries going up in prices. Whatever was good now is going to be over. They're going to make you adjust. It's going to be a new norm. They're just going to bring up the prices to everything, whatever matters to you, like especially food. So like chicken and whatever, steak and whatever, eggs, groceries, milk, all of that stuff is going to go up in price, right? Because I'm hearing a lot of the farmers were hurting at first, and he's trying to help the farmers. And if he's paying the farmers more or whatever he's helping with, putting money into that more, it's going to be a little bit different. You might think it's better, but it's going to be a little bit different now. So now the stuff is going to be more expensive. When you go do your groceries, it'll be more expensive now. Slowly, you're not gonna. It's slowly. You slowly see it. If you're buying chicken for $3, it's gonna be $10. That's how it's gonna be. I know it's different, but that's what's gonna happen. It says what other U.S. tariffs remain. A number of other sector tariffs are still in effect. Trump used whatever it was. So it's only, like I'm saying, aluminum, steel, copper, wood, which I know America needs, right? America needs all of that too. So the tariffs, what he's doing, he's just crying right now, man. This man's just crying. He doesn't like that people will stand up to his nonsense. So he wants to, fire back. Yo, you guys think that you guys gonna get rid of what I was saying? You guys are not listening. I want the tariffs on. So he fires back 10%. Then he fires back 15%. Then, yo, this guy keeps talking on his Truth Social. On his Truth Social. So wait. This is how he's coming to Canada now. Because this is why he put on the what it's called he put on the tariffs. He says the law gives U.S. Commander in Chief broad powers in the case of national emergency and an unusual and extraordinary threat. The Trump administration used a part of the act, the ability to regulate imports, to impose a swath of tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and countries around the globe. In Canada's case, this is Canada's case. This is interesting. In Canada's case, Trump argued that the flood of fentanyl and other illicit drugs across our northern border constitutes a national emergency requiring a response. What does that mean? Requiring a response. The president said he would use the IEEPA to hit all Canadian goods with 25% levy, though that was later walked back and only applied on goods that didn't comply with the provisions of the Canada United Mexico Agreement. That levy was put in place in March and then boosted to 35% in the summer. So he even has this whole damn chart of what who he's putting these tariffs on, how much he's putting tariffs on. This whole damn chart he shows. 52% some countries, 50% South Korea, Switzerland 61, Indonesia 64. This guy just makes up fucking different percents of tariffs. This is funny, y'all. Well, he's a businessman. He's a businessman. The European Union 39%. So I'm seeing some high percentage. China 67%. This guy doesn't play, y'all. Switzerland 61. Who else? He's doing a lot of shit, man. Mr. Donald Trump. While other U.S. tariffs remain, Trump is threatening new tariffs. Does that include Canada? Not really, because, like I said, Canada and America and Mexico got a deal. CUSMA, right? Canada, U.S., Mexico. So that is something that means Canada, America, and Mexico, South America is really together. You're really all together. So when he's talking, he's just talking when he's saying 51st state. He's wishing that Canada would be a 51st state. He's hoping Canada will be a 51st state and join America. And Mexico, if he could take Mexico, he would do the same thing with Mexico. Right? So it's only gonna affect, as the only thing what I seen pointed out was copper, aluminum, am I saying it right? And raw materials. It's not gonna affect food. It's not gonna affect the vehicles. It's not gonna affect everyday life. It's gonna affect natural resources, which Canada has a lot of. Canada has tons of wood or lumber, endless tons of that. And Canada has what else? A lot of the copper, all of that. That's big, and they need the aluminum. They need that. So they could even put the tax. Try to put the tax on that or the tariffs on those things. It's not gonna hurt really. It's still not really gonna hurt Canada. It's really only going to hurt America. So they could do that, but it's still really not gonna hurt Canada. It's only hurt America, people. People, bring up the likes. Please subscribe. Right? So this guy, right? Mr. Trump, he's raging mad right now. What else will he do? Coming soon. What else will he do? Coming soon. Every day is something new with him. So tonight, he already responded. From yesterday and Saturday, he responded. Basically saying, yo, the Supreme Court, all that stuff you done just made it worse. Now I'm putting out more global tariffs. He's saying all that stuff you done did not matter, y'all. He's gonna just put back the tariffs. That's what he's saying. Put it back. 100%. Just gonna put it back. And then people are gonna have to fight. Fight to take it off. So now that he put it back with the executive order, could they fight that right now? Could they fight that? Trump doubles down after U.S. Supreme Court strikes down global. That's a day ago. See something recent. People, please subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. U.S. House backs resolution and end Trump's tariffs on Canada. Yeah, hold on a minute. So he's losing the support. You clearly see that he's losing the support. Right? Here are 7 things you need to know about Trump's tariffs. Well, Americans need to know about Trump's tariffs because it's going to affect them mostly. This is okay. Let's see. The federal government has been collecting. The federal government has been collecting 30 billion in tariffs every month. Oh, the federal government has been collecting about 30 billion in tariffs every month, or about 4 times as much as it took in before Trump returned the White House. Trump has raised tariff rates to their highest level in nearly a century, but imports taxes are still a small share of overall government revenue, just over 5% in January. This man's doing a lot of shit. Tariffs at issue what? Tariffs at issue in Supreme Court case represents half the total tariff bill. Boy, this guy, he doesn't stop. He's gonna make people pay. A lot of Americans pay, man. Pay, pay, pay. This is not helping. Like so far, what is it doing? All the shit he's doing. Let's see. There must be results. There must be some results to all of this. There has to be some result, some good results, some positive results will come out of all of this shit. What he's doing. You think, right? Because he's saying make America great again, so there should be some results, some good results for when he's finished being the president, that America is better off after he's finished being the president. That's what he's trying to set up. That what he's doing is to make America great again. So you better hope, or maybe he doesn't care because he'll be like 83 or something by the time he's finished being the president. No, probably he'll be 82. By the time he's finished being the president, he's already old, but he'll be even more old, and maybe he doesn't give a damn by that time because people will fully be digging and investigating all the shit that Trump was doing as a president, his last term. They'll be digging, and the presidency won't protect him anymore because all these allegations and charges where he ducked because he became the president might come back to haunt him. You get what I'm saying? Might come back to haunt him. What are you guys saying in the chat? What do you think of this whole tariff stuff he's doing globally? What do you think about this? Imposing 15% all over the world. Are you for it? Or are you against it? Because it could affect you, your pockets. Whatever a politician does affects your pockets, affects how you live, affects how you eat, and even your technology, because you got to get the technology from somewhere else when it's being built, like a lot, like the cell phones. Where does the cell phones come from? Where does America get its cell phones? Where does America get most of the cell phones from? Did you hear what Trump said about cell phones about a year ago? I think it was a year ago. What he said about cell phones went over people's heads. And you're saying because it's made in China, they can listen to us. They're spying on Americans right? Through the cell phones because they make them. That's what Trump put out. That Americans are getting spied on from the cell phones. So guaranteed he's putting tariffs on Chinese goods, electronics, for sure. That's what's going on, right? Putting tariffs on stuff like that. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. I think it's on this. What? I don't know why Trump wants to play with people. Trump's playing with everybody. U.S. tariffs on Chinese goods currently range from 7.5 to 130%, depending on the product category, with some exemptions and planned future increases. Overview on current tariffs. The U.S. maintains a complex tariff structure on Chinese imports, including Section 301 tariffs. They always have these sections. These duties apply to a wide range of Chinese goods, often starting at 7.5% and higher depending on the product category. So, oh, damn, this is funny. Not really funny, but this is interesting. Fentanyl tariffs. A 10% tariff applies to certain Chinese goods linked to fentanyl production, reduced from 20% as part of the trade truce. So let's see this. This is more of the description of what a tariff sounds like. Liberation Day tariffs. A 10% blanket tariff initially imposed on all Chinese imports currently paused, though some products duties remain in effect. Okay, now this is another one. Product, right? Tariffs. Certain items such as ship to shore, cranes, and cargo. I know what that is. Cranes and cargo handling equipment face 100% tariffs effective November 9th, 2025. So you know what that is? Those cargoes, what you see, there's sometimes like they go to factories and warehouses. Trucks are driving those cargoes to factories, warehouses, what probably distribute these, the cargoes to various stores, right? D2E Walk. Much respect, Underground Nation. What you saying, brother? Just streaming, talking about the terrace, man. I got the link in the chat, man. I got the link in the chat. You're doing good. Anybody who want to join can join. But yeah, right now, China, this is the description of the Chinese tariffs or what America got on China, right? Goods, agricultural goods, coffee, tea, tropical fruits, fruit juices, cocoa, spices, exempt the 10% reciprocal tariff, though they may still be subject to Section 301. See, they got these different. Yeah, man, tap in. I got the link, man. I got the link. You can tap in. People, Underground Nation, straight, straight from the six, if you want to call it, or the GTA. He's in the chat. He does a lot of if you want to call it journalism too. No, it's in the description. Try it. It's in the description. I put it in the description. When you see the description, the links is right there, my brother. As soon as you touch it, the link in the description in the live, it will link you. Should link you. That's how I said it. But yeah, people, Mr. Trump's going crazy with these tariffs. See, like you got to read the description to really know what it affects. And I told you, like, for example, like coffee for China, the tea and fruits and shit, it affects that for them. But meanwhile, it's affecting America, right? Brampton. Oh, yeah, underground from Brampton. I forgot. Okay, yeah, man. Straight from Brampton. GTA still. Still the GTA, Underground Nation, yo, live and direct right now. So, what's next? When you see this, okay, recent developments, I'm gonna say 2025 is 2026 right now, but U.S. China trade relations experience vital with tariffs fluctuating from 145 to percent to 30% during a temporary truce. So it was 145% to 30% during a temporary truce. A truce. It's an economic word. This is funny shit. The escalating to 130% on November shit first 2025 in response Chinese rare earth. I always hear about this. Chinese rare earth export controls. That's what America needs. Now, what's this rare earth? I have to admit, I keep hearing this rare earth, right? I keep hearing this rare earth stuff. This is very important for America. This rare earth, I tell you, really important for America. I gotta look up this rare earth, man, because I keep hearing about it. I know it's something like it must be something like a mineral or something. Rare earth from China. Rare earth. Yeah, I got the link up in the description. It should work if you could tap in. If you want to go live, anybody who got info or your opinion about Trump and his tariffs, welcome to join. The link's in the description, people. So, oh, this is interesting. Interesting. The People's Republic of China, the world's largest processor of rare earth elements, which are used. Oh, this is interesting. Interesting. No wonder Trump, China has something very valuable. That's why he's mad with Canada. This explains everything what's going on. This explains everything what's going on. There's always something to it. So it says, the People's Republic of China, right? PRC is the world's richest, largest processor of rare earth elements, right? Which are used in technologies ranging from electric vehicles. That's why China is gonna rip it up with the electric vehicles. And they hate that Canada is doing a deal. Okay, so he said, Lauren Diamond, we get a lot of lithium for our batteries from there. That was one thing that I know he wanted to go after. So that's what China has. This explains a lot what's going on, ranging from electric vehicles. So electric vehicles, they're giving Canada like 50,000 of them. And my research, Canada and China are going to start developing vehicles. So that marks out America. That's why Trump is angry, right? That marks America out. So I'm going to get into this. There's more. This is interesting. This is actually very important. Now, you kind of study the whole what it's called tariff stuff and what's really behind it, right? So I'm going to read more. Ranging from electric vehicles and wind turbines to magnets and consumer electronics. Oh, controlling around 90% of the global processing capacity. Yo, capacity. Why I'm saying capacity? Capacity. So this is important. Yo, this is very important information. That's to show you how important China is. It's funny. This is what this shit looks like. When I'm seeing the picture, the rare earth, it has some special type of colors to it and stuff like that. China's rare earth dominance is hard for EV makers to escape. Shit, this is gonna be the thing. This is like the new, to me, power, electricity. Like it's probably been around, but this is what America wants. This is interesting. You want me to get down to earth about this? I could read you some information, more of this. So, the People's Republic of China, the PRC, is the world's largest processor of rare earth elements, which are used in technologies ranging from electric vehicles. This is what Trump doesn't like, and the wind turbines to magnets and consumer electronics, controlling around 90% of global processing. Processing, right? Capacity, right? Capacity. China has enormous economically exacerbated deposits of both light and heavy REEs, ores, and has developed industrial scale solvent extraction for refining them. Over the past decades, it had supplied majority of global rare earth demand and holds the world's largest known reserves. The country also holds a dominant share of global rare earth related patents across the value chain, and since 2016 has implemented export controls on certain rare earth elements a rare earth processing technology. So, whatever they have, this rare earth, which I never knew really about, I admit, but it's probably been around for a good while. This, you could call it technology, science, what China is using, especially for these new power vehicles, is what America wants. It's for all the technology. People, please like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. It's for technology. So that's why China is so important. Now I see this is something what's really big. That's why there's an economic war going on. The picture is more clear when you read. So this is why I'm gonna read the history of this rare earth. It'll probably open other doors, right? Get down to earth. People, bring up the likes and please subscribe. In 1927, rare earths were discovered, and small scale production of this is 1927 rare earths were discovered and small scale production concentrate started as early as 1958, but the government did not have interest in large scale potential of these elements until the 1980s and the 90s. So when the 80s and the 90s came, this is what I'm saying. America was in the game. And this rare earth, what I'm talking about right now, is what Donald Trump is still, but like, he's after it. So when he even tries to do tariffs, he can't really do the tariffs too much to China, which even though he's trying, like, he's putting out there, like, yeah, I'm giving all these people some big tariffs in China. No, if you play around with China, you're playing around with a lot of shit. Like, your technology will be more expensive more than ever, right? Let's see what he's saying. We have reserves, but much of it is controlled by deals we have with China, and China has bought the land it's on. You make sense, right, Lauren? You're making sense because, correct me if I'm wrong, for years, I've been hearing China been buying up property in America too. I swear, correct me if I'm wrong. Haven't I been hearing for years that China owns a lot of real estate in America? This is from, like, I'm talking early 2000s and shit too. Been hearing China been owning property in America. So they could bring up your tax. They could bring up your tax in America. So this rare earth is something big. Like, it's too much for me. Like, I could read all of this shit, but the point is that it's part in this whole thing Trump is doing with the tariffs. it will affect technology. The main thing for this rare earth, that's why I had to look it up. This whole shit with the rare earth is very important, people. In the world, China has something what they have developed from discovery from the 20s and they didn't really start perfecting it until the 80s and the 90s. When the 80s and the 90s came, they started to preserve it and perfect it and then made a lot of technology from this shit, this rare earth. So this stuff is like really in a lot of stocks for the whole world. So this is why Russia has a good relationship. It makes sense. This is why Russia has a good relationship with China because this is technology and this is what America wants, right? So I think a lot of people don't know what rare earth is. It just goes over their head. People, please subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff, right? So I think a lot of people don't know what it is. You got to look it up. You really got to look it up. And he's blaming, right, the fentanyl on China too. He's blaming the drug problem in America on China and Canada because of the fentanyl. So, oh, this is where the war starts. So, this is interesting. That's why nowadays a lot of people don't, you know, they don't read to try to find out the real fine print, what's going on. I'm going to fast forward to this. Environmental. Until 1990s, the US had previously dominated the global REE industry, but the domestic production declined after they started to make stricter environmental regulations. Okay, so because of the environmental regulations, things changed. That began in the 1980s. China comparatively did not tighten environmental regulations. It didn't give a shit. You're right. But instead made a decision to heavily invest in the sector and increase production. Along with lax environmental relations and strategic state led planning, they overlooked the United States in REE production in 1990s and became dominant in REE global industry by the early 2000s. This, however, all came at a heavy environmental cost to villages surrounding the REE mining and processing operations. A majority of China's rare earth mining is concentrating on a sparsely populated Inner Mongolian region named the Bayan Oba mine near Bota City, which alone holds a deposit that amounts to approximately over 80% of China's total rare earth reserves. Other provinces producing earth, rare earth includes Shandong, Sichuan, Jiangxi, Gong, I'm trying to say the names, Guangdong and Fujian, Hunan, and Gugax. Try to say the names. The sewage production from the factories were dumped into nearby ponds and rivers. That's why in China, they have some of the most polluted places on earth is in China. I've seen a documentary on that. So look at this. The sewage production from the factories were dumped into nearby ponds and rivers, according to accounts from the residents of the Bayan Oba, a major production center. Before the factories were built, there were just fields here as far as the eye can see, right? In the place of this radioactive sludge, there were watermelons. This person talking about like tomatoes during the 80s. Plants grew badly. Mm, grew badly. They did a whole bunch of shit. Either way, I'm not surprised what China's doing. When they know that there's some real precious type of they call rare earth this is making technology. So this place, they don't care about who's living there. The people are saying ever since they start doing it, it's a lot of things has disappeared, right? It's disappeared because the mining it became more bigger and more faster. And this rare earth is so important. This is behind the scenes. If you don't do your research, people, this is behind the scenes of stuff what makes the world go round. Because when I done my little research here about the rare earth, it's for all technology, computers, cell phones, your television, all these stuff. So electricity, right, works with this rare earth in the science. See, China knows because they say the main thing that they use this for is technology. The main thing they use this rare earth for is technology. So your computers, your phones, a lot of communications, all anything that we're using in the stores, computers, in rare earth. I'm gonna read it again because some people need to take this in. I'm gonna from the beginning, just the beginning. The People's Republic of China, (PRC), is the world's largest processor of rare earth elements. This is in China, which are used in technology ranging from electric vehicles, EVs, and wind turbines. You know what wind turbines is? To magnets and consumer electronics. That's all I gotta say. Consumer electronics. Consumer electronics. Remember what I'm saying. That's very important. Consumer electronics, very important. That's for everything we use. So that's why America is dealing with, has a certain soft spot for China. That's why I didn't like it that Canada was doing deals with China because rare earth is very precious, right? Rare earth is powerful. And that's part of the dealings with America. America wants some of that rare earth. Okay, so what is this now? More info. China's rare earth controls can forbid any country on earth from participating in modern economy, former White House advisor warns. You hear how powerful that is? So Trump's tariffs, he's kind of careful now in regards to this rare earth stuff. China has a stranglehold on rare earth, producing more than 90% of the world's processed rare earth and rare earth magnets. They are used across industries from tech sector to automakers. That's big. Automakers. That's the vehicles. And defense contractors. Now, does Trump really want to put hard tariffs on China? This shows you China's military, sorry to say, they got something. They got something guaranteed. Before I was saying just America, America. Yes, America has something, but China really has something. So all of this tariff shit, what Trump's been doing, if he's smart, he just eases off of China because I didn't really know this is how China uses their power, and it's smart. It's through dependence. You depend on China, right, for something like this rare earth. I'm gonna do more research on this shit, but so far what it's telling me, it's a very powerful, if you want to call it a natural resource. This is like a movie. America wants it. They need it. Everybody wants it in the world. But it's funny that it's near a place near Mongolia. Sounds like this is like a movie. It's in a place like Mongolia. Is Mongolia China? I thought Mongolia is its own country. Mongolia, rare earth. Mongolia, rare earth. Let's see. People, please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Mongolia, lithium, graphite, and rare earths. Damn. So that's why. And yo, Trump, he's putting the tariffs on that. Wants to put tariffs on that. That will affect all those products. What rare earth, what you need with the rare earth. All those products will go up in price. So check this. You're gonna put tariffs on the rare earths. And then when they do the products, right, they're going to charge America more for the products. So it's either America doesn't buy the products or they buy the products and it's going to cost you. So if you don't buy the products, you got to make them yourself. And it's going to be not the same because you won't have that same ingredient, if you want to call it, from China. Damn, they have frigged it up. I see what's going on. Shit. If this is China, oh, like whatever they're doing to get this rare earth. No, yo, you could see it, yo. This, if it's true what they've been doing, yo, they don't give a shit. Anything for this power, yo. Many questions and theories arise when it comes to Mongolia's battery metals potential. Goba is widely thought to hold the lithium, graphite, and rare earth elements, REE, among others. How much of these is fully not known. According to 2009 estimate by the U.S. Geological Survey, Mongolia holds should have 30 million tons of REE reserves, second only to China, 44 million tons, considering that the Inner Mongolia, a Chinese autonomous territory, is the main global supplier of the rare earths. This is some gangster shit. Yo, this is some serious stuff, yo. See, so now that's why I'm saying it's good to look on the stuff that someone like Donald Trump is putting the tariffs on. I don't need to read no more, but I'm gonna look into this more. This rare earth it's very interesting, and that's just one thing. But he does blame for like drugs, fentanyl. He blames Canada and China for fentanyl because that's a big problem right now in America. He blames Canada and, you know, China for the drug problem. People, please subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. So, let's see. Let's see. So, Trump's tariffs. Always doing shit. Where does you? So he says, because that's the reason. Trump passes symbolic vote to end. So he says Trump slams Canada as U.S. House passes symbolic vote to end. I didn't hear this. I didn't see this. Trump slams Canada as U.S. House passes symbolic vote to end tariffs. The U.S. President Donald Trump called Canada among the worst in the world to deal with as the U.S. House Representatives voted against the tariffs on America's northern neighbor, a largely symbolic move that shows some wavering Republican support for President Massey's President's massive trade agenda. Okay, Canada has taken it. This is what he's saying. Mr. Trump. Canada has taken advantage of the United States on trade for many years. They are among the worst in the world to deal with, especially as it relates to our nation's border, our northern border. Trump posted on social media Wednesday night. As a result of the vote became clear, tariffs make a win for us. Easy Republicans must what? He says easy. Republicans must keep it that way. That's what he's saying. Republicans must keep it that way. Six Republicans joined Democrats in a bipartisan push against Trump's so-called fentanyl emergency at the U.S.-Canada border, which the president used as justification for economic-wide tariffs against America's northern neighbor last year. So it's because he's saying drugs, right? While Wednesday's motions passed, it did not get the two-thirds majority it would need to become veto-proof. When it lands on Trump's desk, okay, he hasn't vetoed nothing. He hasn't vetoed nothing. So his justification for tariffs on Canada is because of drugs. That's one thing. That's one thing he's been saying, because of drugs. You guys hear that? Drugs. Canada has taken advantage of the United States on trade for many years. They're among the worst. That's how he put it. This guy, Canada is also being hammered by separate sector tariffs on industries like steel, aluminum, and automobiles and lumber that Trump enacted through different presidential power. Mm-mm-mm-mm. The bipartisan support does demonstrate Republican uncertainty around Trump's erratic trade policies directed towards Canada. Yeah, what's next? More tariffs. 100%. More tariffs. That's what's coming next. 15% tariffs. In response to Trump's stated concerns about fentanyl, Ottawa boosted border security measures with more boots on the ground and drones in the air. Canada's police force have widely promoted drug seizures in the news releases. During a debate in the House earlier Wednesday, there's always these debates, Brian Mass, a Republican from Florida, pointed to those drug seizures in Canada and Ottawa's appointment of fentanyl Caesar as the evidence that the problem is real. Drugs. He's blaming Canada and China for drugs. And that's why he's putting tariffs. Really? Did I just tell you that the technology, this rare earth stuff, is very powerful, very strong, and it's hurting America now that China is developing more technology with this rare earth. They're developing a lot with their rare earth in Mongolia or China. This is something I did not even know about. This is something I think I used to just hear in stock markets and shit. Rare earth. This is something you need for your all technology. 100%. That's why China is a big developer, because they don't care about the environment as much. They don't have these big environmental laws like America and Canada, right? So you heard what I was reading, what he was saying, that they don't like the stuff what they do to produce certain things is really not healthy. It's really not good for the environment, but they take that risk in China. They take the risk in China with mining whatever for the rare earth. And when they take that risk, that's when they make the products for the world. They make all those products, electronic products. So this rare earth is very important. They're using it for the car, what's called the EVS, or what, the electric vehicles. What they're going to be, well, they're still manufacturing tons of them. They're bringing 50,000 to Canada, right? So That alone made Trump very angry, knowing that this rare earth stuff, right? These energy efficient vehicles that will be way cheaper than American vehicles are used have this rare earth stuff, which he is basically putting the tariffs on. And then American companies, what are developing vehicles, they're gonna lose to China. That's what's gonna happen. They're gonna lose to China, and then jobs. A lot of jobs, of course. Um, he wants to make America great again, but he might have to bow down to China or somebody else for for a vehicle production, because it's going to get very expensive if he keeps up with the tariffs for the next 3 years, right? But people, please subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. Yeah, man. Trump and the tariffs. Bless up people for joining the chat. Yeah, Trump has new tariffs that he's just putting out yesterday. What last? Yeah, yesterday. No, 2 days ago. You could say that now because it's Sunday. Friday, he put that out. Saturday, he was talking, and now it's Sunday. But people, please subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. This is the Down to Earth Network with your host Sean Myrie, and I'm out.